following is a production of Dirty Mo Media. Hey everybody, it's Dale Jr. back again for another episode of the Dale Jr. Download here in the Bojangles Studio. We're going to be recapping everything that happened this past weekend at COTA in all three NASCAR series, and the winner of the Cup race, William Byron's calling in. Let's get going. All right, everybody, pretty exciting weekend, a lot going on throughout the weekend in COTA with the truck race, Xfinity race, and the Cup race as well. A lot of kind of different races happening, and not everything that happened on Saturday followed through into the Cup race. The Cup race was quite different. We're going to go over all of that, and William Byron, I said, is going to call in later in about 45 minutes or so. And we got a lot of things that we want to ask him. But anyways, so what's everybody have a good weekend?
It was a good weekend. Yeah.
All right.
You?
Yeah, I did. I'm getting a camper ready. So I don't know if you've been following along on social media. Mm-hmm. I'm selling my bus. Kind of been wanting to do that for about 3 years. And it's a bus I bought 10 years ago when I was a full-time Cup racer. But it doesn't work with our kids, and it's overkill a little bit, so quite a bit. So I'm selling it. Finally, I'm ready. I've been wanting to do that. I'm glad. And I got a fifth wheel from Camping World, and which I've been wanting to do that for a while. And I've been kind of going through all these ideas on where I wanted to land on what to get, and we got a fifth wheel. It's called a Cougar. Perfect name.
Nice.
And so, anyways, we've been kind of getting putting sheets on beds and getting dishes and all of the things, right? Getting it ready. It's got a little bunkhouse in the back for the girls. Oh, they're gonna love
cool.
it. Yeah.
Dang.
It's going to Texas for Easter. And so and then, hopefully in a couple more weeks it might be going to a late model stock race, but more on that later. But I've been getting this camper ready and I'm excited about it. It's a Keystone Cougar, 36 foot.
Nice.
Dang.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
It's fun, man. I bought an old used dually, 3500 to pull it. Has 30,000 miles on it. And, man, you always get nervous when you're buying a used car. It's like, why did they turn it in? Something wrong with this thing?
What do I not know about?
What do I not know?
Yeah.
35,000 miles, not that much.
30.
30? 30?
Yeah, even better.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, for a dually that's going to be pulling a fifth wheel all around, it's not a lot of miles. So I don't know why I got turned back in. Hopefully no big reason. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be I think Amy and the kids, Amy's kind of fired up about it. Going to these, we got a little list of campgrounds started already that we kind of could see ourselves going to.
What has you excited so far?
What?
Which one?
I mean, campgrounds are campgrounds, man. I don't know nothing about them. As far as I'm concerned, there's camping spots and shit to do. That's the extent of my knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you like around here or like
all over the country?
Okay.
Yeah. Nowhere specific. I mean, I can go into detail. You really want to do that?
We don't have to if you don't want to.
You're genuinely curious?
I'm genuinely curious.
Really?
Yeah. I've got buddies who enjoy camping all over the country.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ask them what some of their camping spots, their favorite camping?
I do, because I've always wanted to camp, but I just haven't, fully pulled the trigger on it. I've been a few times, but I enjoyed the few times I went.
Yeah. No,
so
I think
I'm always on the lookout.
I'm curious as to how much fun camping really is, right? You pull the thing in, you park it. You got all the stuff, right? You've prepared this thing and got all the things to just live, right? Food and clothes and all that. And then you got some like rinky-dink camping toys, ring toss or what the hell ever. Right? You got these silly camping toys that only people play when they camp.
Exactly.
So the wife's throwing a couple of them in there. And because, it's like larger size Connect 4. You ever Connect 4 on the table, the little one, right?
Like just a bigger version of that.
It's a bigger version of that. Like the bigger version of what's it called?
Jenga.
Yeah. All that. All those games. You never see any of this stuff until it's like, we got a fifth wheel. We got to have all these games. And so I guess camping is that. Playing those, playing those
oversized board games for some reason.
Yeah, and sitting around a fire, right?
That's my favorite.
That I can get behind.
Right.
The key is a good chair. You need to get yourself a good sitting down the fire chair.
All right, that's damn man. All right, great.
I grew up camping, so
great point. You grew up camping.
I grew up camping. Yeah.
See, I've been around a lot of chairs, man.
That is yeah.
All right. And I've seen people in their camping chairs. There's some comfortable ones out there.
Some good ones.
But I don't know if I want. So the camping chairs have kind of went toward this sort of sitting low, relaxed, laid back,
like almost like a beach chair.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. It sinks at the seat.
I have a hard time getting away from the old traditional 1980s folder.
Yes. Yeah. I agree. I want like a tight seat. I don't want to sink down.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I don't like to sit low. Knees up.
Yeah, no.
Hard to get in and out of.
Tough to get out. Yeah.
And I love the nostalgia of the old folder.
Yeah.
Man.
Also packs way easier too in the camper.
Does it?
Just kind of folds up
a little bit because if you think about the one that sits low, you got to put it back in the bag.
It goes in the bag, but it's easier. I think it stores better.
Yeah. I mean, hit or miss.
Yeah. But I mean, it's certainly more comfortable than the old original folder. But damn, man, I can't. My nostalgia, has me in all kinds of uncomfortable situations.
Yeah,
I can't help it.
I'm with you.
Anyhow, got that going on. Excited about that. Something that me and Andrew been going back and forth on, man, is the scooter gang.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were gonna bring this up. This is hilarious.
So, all right, man. If you follow Tyler Reddick. If you follow Tyler Reddick on social media, you are guaranteed to get a scooter shoe combo post. Every week. What's up, COTA? I'm scooting at Phoenix. You know what I mean? I don't know. They must have a scooter deal. It's obvious there must be a scooter deal, but you don't ever see like a brand name or a tag or anything, so maybe he does got
I think
it's
for the love of the game.
You think it's just the love of scooters?
Yeah.
I got these things. They're piled up everywhere. I got 2 or 3 at the house the girls are playing with. We got 1 or 2 over at the other place. I mean, these, but I never had the urge to hop on one and take off.
No.
But apparently they do the track walks. They go to Phoenix every week. Go to all these racetracks, and I went to, we're at Nashville a couple, last year, I think even, and they come on riding by on them little scooters. And, Reddick does it quite a bit. He likes to get out, look at the racetrack, just sort of get, familiar, see anything new or whatever, which I get. I mean, I think that's really smart to get out on the racetrack. I saw some pictures of Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher out there. Chris Buescher had a scooter. Brad did not. So Brad's old school, not a scooter guy, right? Cale, David, none of them guys ever. They're not riding scooters. But now, man, you go if you follow Reddick and the other and Denny, all the 2311 guys, man,
it was
it's a scooter gang.
2311 thing.
Yeah. They're on the scooters, and then you got Kurt Busch on his scooter. His looked like it was the property of Austin, Texas, like it came from the city. He rode straight from the hotel.
He had to rent it. Yeah,
it looked like he was paying for that one by the hour. I don't know. But I'm fascinated by this. And I don't want to. I'm careful to use any descriptions such as disappointed, or because I don't want to overstate it. It's the guys are out on scooters. It's okay, but I don't know. I don't want if I'm these are gladiators going out to do battle, and they're gonna they're doing something incredibly hard and unique, and they're the best in the world, and no one else can do it. Denny says it in the Netflix.
Sure.
I might can birdie a hole that some of the pro golfers birdie. I might can hit the 3-point shot that the NBA guys can hit, but none of them can get in my car and match my laps. None of them can do what I do. Nobody can, right? And so I don't want to see them on scooters, man. I don't know. I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him. I can't. I don't know how to say it. Not being. So sorry. I feel like I complain too much.
No.
Y'all don't get that vibe?
It's just the way you see the world.
Yeah.
It's just about
I know that
particular things.
That's the other part. I'm like, am I turning into a old man?
No.
Because I'm like
I'll let
triggered
you
by
know.
the scooter guys.
I don't like the scooters
Hey,
either.
these damn
I'm
kids
not-
these
Yeah,
days.
right? Am I screaming, old man screaming in the cloud here? Is that what I've become?
Do you complain about this to Amy? She's just like, all right.
I know better.
Nah.
She ain't going to want to listen to that.
Just come here and talk about
Yeah.
it.
Oh.
We're actually not even recording.
just
This is
kn-
just a way for you to
Ding! I know, right? Yeah, we're not even recording.
It's just a vent
Just
session.
blowing off steam.
Yeah, Dan leads his hour to just,
Yeah.
talking to a mic.
And another thing. Yeah.
Be watching though, man. Tyler Reddick.
The sneaker shoe combo is something. Like there's some sort of formula there that they're
There's
working on.
every week, man.
Yeah.
It's the shoe scooter combo
Or the
post.
sneaker scooter. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's on both Instagram and Twitter.
Did you see the group picture of all of them
Oh, yeah.
together?
Yeah.
It looks like the first day that their parents let them go to school by
Yeah.
themselves.
They were so proud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all very
Yeah.
proud of the scooters.
That's right. That's like it looked like they were like they're graduating from like
Right.
middle school to high school. or
Right.
something.
Well,
Our first day of junior high.
so,
What?
So true.
no, it was just because this is going. What made me laugh is like this has been going on for a few weeks. This is the first time we've talked
Me
about
and him's
it.
been
Right.
We've been
texting
talking
about
about it. So before Bristol, I go to Reddick, and he actually flags me down because he's like, "What the hell is wrong with your hair?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna ask you about the scooters here." And he said they don't allow motorized vehicles, so that's
Yeah.
the fastest way he can get around the track.
Yeah.
It's better than
I
a
mean,
bike.
I guess you could bike. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
that's
a
worse
bike.
to
I mean,
me.
you'd be upgrading to high
bike is
school from
worse?
there.
Yeah, that's
Than a
worse.
scooter.
Why is a bike worse?
I can't imagine just seeing someone just like carve through the garage in a bike. I think the scooter
Yeah.
is a little better.
What about skateboard?
Oh,
Too dangerous?
skateboard's cool. I think.
What
I'd
about
say-
one of those one tire things?
Oh, the one wheel thing.
the one wheels.
But it's motorized.
I kind of like those.
So
Yeah.
you,
Motorized.
unicycle.
It's electric.
I mean, I'm always pro
Yeah,
Morgan
you can't
Shepherd
have-
rollerblading.
you telling me Kurt Busch's scooter ain't electric? Did you see the damn? Did you see that thing? That's
Oh,
electric.
they're not kicking scooter in this thing. No, they got to be electric.
No, the
No,
ones
you
that
can't.
Tyler
They
Reddick.
can't be electric.
They
Really?
were
Motorized and electric's not the same thing.
No?
I feel like it's the same thing.
Don't
though.
you do that? No, not especially in especially in a world where you have all these fans that are scared of racing going toward electric cars. Man, you can't say they're the same. They are not the same. One makes noises and one doesn't.
I'm just saying, like, if NASCAR sees that and they're like, okay, you're clearly like you're not scooting, like
Look,
you're
man,
using a.
If somebody pulls up on me on my electric scooter, some official, and says you can't take that out there, it's motorized, I'm gonna tell them to
You gotta
kick
bring
rocks.
that. You gotta bring that thing through tech.
I'm gonna tell them to kick rocks, and I'm gonna push, match the trigger, and I'm rolling on. I'm gonna burn some rubber, my little electric scooter. Now I'm part of the scooter gang.
Yeah.
What the hell happened here?
Somehow you became anti-scooter.
scooter.
Now you're on the scooter. It's all about that rebel, man.
I am
Yeah.
turning into the old man. You're not gonna tell me. All right, so if
You're gonna have in your kitchen soon, like
Hey.
farm to table, like one of
Yeah.
those signs.
yes, yes, like did
You're gonna
y'all
turn into
see-
that guy.
Yes, did you see? I was messing with Kenny Wallace on the ladder.
Yes, the ladder thing.
I wanted to ask
Yeah.
you about this
the
too.
keep cozy ladder.
You
I'm
cracked me up because you were like, "I'm gonna bring in the ladder from the garage and just set it up on the side."
I was gonna bring my ladder in. It's got paint and all kinds of crap on it. And then set it up beside
Yeah.
the TV and hang blankets on it, like.
6 foot
Because
ladder.
Kenny
just-
takes this picture of the race on his TV, and beside it's a ladder. See, I'm an idiot, man. I didn't even freaking put it together. I wasn't like, oh, that's a blanket ladder.
right.
Oh yeah.
I don't think
I looked at it and I
that's
went.
that common.
I went and looked. I looked at it. I'm like, it's a ladder, man. It says keep cozy on it. It's just by itself.
Keep cozy. Keep
What
cozy.
the hell?
Yeah.
None of that has anything to do with anything.
It's
right?
extremely close to the TV too. I mean, it's close.
But and I was like, the ladder to nowhere, and it's
Yeah.
keep cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people hang signs in their house that say country things, but a ladder? So, but then somebody in the comments is like, "Hey, you dumbass, this is a fucking rack for blankets." Then I felt like an idiot.
But there weren't any blankets on it.
No.
So
well, I mean,
Kenny
it was
posted
just
an
sitting there
update
not
too.
being used.
Do you see he posted?
He
a
did.
new
He, like,
picture
got
with
up and put blankets on it.
yes, he got up and put the blankets on. Yeah.
Good for Kenny.
I don't know.
Stay cozy, Kenny.
I can't. I feel like, man, it's like social media and all these things are just turning me into this guy that's just like picking everything apart. You and your scooters and you and your ladder. You know, I gotta sprinkle in some positivity here soon.
You're
man.
doing it the right way because you're on a podcast, so then you can just say it's a take.
Yeah.
Dale's got a take on everything.
Oh. Well, all right. We had one bad take.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, the jury may be still out. But so the Xfinity race, we're going to get to that in a minute, and we'll talk about my bad take. But first off, I want to go through the truck race. Let's talk about that a little bit. Connor Zilisch. Connor Zilisch comes in, sets a new track record, right? Qualifies on the pole, well clear of the rest of the field. There's this sort of, he's going to be driving for Junior Motorsports. He's driving everything. Kid drives Trans Am, trucks, Busch cars. I say Busch still. Mm-hmm. But, you get it. He drives a lot of stuff. He's going to run the Cars Tour. He's driving super late models and all kinds of things. ARCA. Mm-hmm. And so he's doing it all. And what is he, 17 still?
Yep.
So it's insane. This kid has the runway to become a multi-time NASCAR Cup champion. The runway is right there in front of him. Not many people are getting all this experience at this age, right? If everything goes well and he keeps his head on straight, massive success and potential ahead. But he comes into this truck race, does really well in qualifying. They interview Kyle Larson. Oh, man, he's going to destroy the field. If nothing happens, if somebody don't run through him, he's killing them. And he goes out there in the first corner and misses turn one, right? As soon as it happens, I'm like, all right, he overestimated the level of grip in the braking zone there, coming up the hill. Okay. He kept coming back and kept having more and more mistakes. Had to change his front sway bar? Really?
Lap 2 goes one lap
because he had
down.
the flat, drug the sway bar arm off, and probably had to come in and change the tire, if not change the sway bar.
That's pretty remarkable.
And only lost one lap, too. Which
All right. Well, it is
like COTA.
Yeah, COTA's a long racetrack. He gets the free pass. He spins in turn 12 after getting – did he get turned around by Tyler?
Yeah, he got dumped. He got dumped.
So
yeah.
not a up on his part, right? And the sway bar arm, hey, he slides the tire. That's the mistake in lap 1. Lap 2, the sway bar, that's just a repercussion from the flat tire. All right, he gets a pass-through penalty for cutting turn 4, which everyone else did. So I can't give him a hard time for that. He passes the 98 for second and made contact with him, and then he has a tire rub, right, lap 29. Pass-through penalty for cutting the course in turn 3 when he was in 4th place on lap 35. And ended up, after all of that, finishing 4th, passing 54 trucks.
57,
sorry. And so when you look at that, what do you see? Do you see somebody who's I'm on the fence about how hard to be on him about all of those mistakes, right? We had a phone call the other day, me and you, Andrew, and I was like, it just seemed like he was just kept screwing up over and over and over. But when you look at the list of things, it's like, well,
a lot of this seems racing related.
Yeah, it's racing related. There was only one thing that kind of screwed him up, and that was the turn 1 mistake.
Lap 1.
Hurt. Happened. Yeah, happens to the best of us. So I guess I'm gonna chill out.
You're going to change your mind.
Yeah, changing my mind.
So is it an impressive drive then? All that and finishing 4th?
He's impressive. His speed, especially on road courses. The jury is out on his abilities and talent on ovals. Look, Connor has had success on ovals. It's not like we don't know he can't race an oval. But when I think his experience on road courses and all the types of things that he's been doing at a young age obviously is going to serve him well when he runs these races. the remainder of the year. But when he goes to, when he kind of gets thrown into the muck of a Xfinity race at Dover, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, he's going to normalize a little bit. But dude could come out there and kick everybody's ass. I think he'll be in good stuff. He's going to drive I mentioned it, he's going to drive our stuff this year. Connor Zilisch, man. He's like, Connor Zilisch is like that comet that is out at the edge of the solar system that's supposed to come by Earth, right?
In a few years.
And we know
Yeah.
when it's coming, and we're all going to be standing outside looking in the sky waiting on it. That's Connor Zilisch in my mind.
Could be his nickname.
Yeah.
The Comet.
The Comet.
I like that.
Connor the Comet.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Hey, I just feel like that if everything goes right, this kid, we're going to be talking about him a lot this year and beyond. Marco Andretti had the entire rear axle come out of his car.
This is crazy.
Yeah, we saw some photos. Clean brake right in front of right behind the spring buckets, right in front of the U-bolt mounts where the housing kind of clamps to the trailing arms. A clean brake. When I see this, two things come to mind. There's some trickery, so they're doing something to the trailing arms or the rear, something back there to try to improve forward drive, or he will hop the crap out of this car or truck, right? So I called into NASCAR yesterday and talked to a few people, and there seems to be, from at this point yesterday, there was no trickery. Like, looking at it, it's like it looks all straight. Everything's bolted in there right. Everything's tight. And apparently there was a failure of the track bar mount first, like a heim on the track bar or something broke first. There was some people that saw the rear end moving back and forth before it actually comes out of the truck. And so who knows the chain of events that happen. Maybe the drive shaft, maybe the trailing arms are moving back and forth so much it breaks the yoke of the drive shaft or something like that. The drive shaft comes out, hits the ground, and pull and twist the rear end, and who knows, right? But this thing went through forces that we never see. We never see dual trailing arms break in half and the whole rear end. That rear end housing, whatever went on there, it went through some forces that our cars never see. And so, unless they're flipping down the damn front straightaway at Daytona or something like that, it's just driving around on four tires. We've never seen them rip the rear end out straight out of a car or truck. I was testing one time, my very first time at Watkins Glen, 1998, getting ready for the Xfinity race in the AC Delco car, and I'm coming down into the braking zone of turn 6, and it's a left-hander right before the final turn coming on the front straightaway. We called it turn 6 back then, but I don't know what it's 10 or 11 now. But I wheel hopped really, really bad. So wheel hopping happens when you try to get downshift into gear too soon, and you're using engine braking, so the revs of the motor. So you get into the downshift, and it goes, wah! And you're getting too much engine braking instead of using the actual brakes and the brake pedal to slow the car down. So I get into the downshift into third or second too quickly, and the revs are too much for the speed that the car's going, and it starts hopping the rear tires. They literally start hopping down the racetrack, and it can bounce like very violently like a basketball. So I wheel hopped it real bad. I think I knocked it out of gear with my hand. That stops the wheel hop. Come on, coast in and get into the garage. And the guys are looking under the car. I get out, and they're like, man, you've done something. There's grease pouring out of the rear end of the car. And so what I'd done is a 9-inch Ford rear end, which is the same thing they run these days. And the gear for the engine, for the gear for the rear end bolts into the front. It's a front-loaded 9-inch Ford rear end. And when I wheel hopped, it took that gear and the rear end housing and twisted it back and forth like this, and pulled the rear end gear off of the rear end housing, stripped and bowed and flexed and bent all of the bolts that hold that gear on. And so the gear separated from the rear end housing and the grease just dumped out. And so if that can happen on a wheel hop, I think at Homestead in 1999 we won the championship, but we broke in the race. So we're running top 5 in the race. Come to pit road to try to make a pit stop, and Will hopped onto pit road and broke the rear end.
Dang.
Broke something in the drive line doing it that way. But that's when I see that happen in that truck race, that's the only thing I can think of is Marco is downshifting and using the engine braking, probably downshifting too early, and Will hopping a lot. And maybe did some things in practice also that created some damage, that sort of continued to worsen as he went on into the race. I don't know. I mean, he may call me or text me and go, I didn't wheel hop the damn thing, but I don't believe it. There's no way that rear end come out of there. If there's no trickery, it had to been like some pretty severe wheel hop somewhere. You have them long straightaways, and he gets that thing wheel hopping and it can't stop, and he don't knock it out of gear, and it's wheel hopping like, a football, 2 football fields. You're going to break some
Yeah.
Anyhow, that was just crazy. NASCAR's saying they're going to call me back if they learn anything about that, and they don't want that to ever happen again. But let's move on to the Xfinity race. One shout out for the Xfinity race before we get down deep into it. I want to give Austin Green props for a great result in his first Xfinity race. This is David Green's son. I know Mark, David, and Jeff Green really well. Great friends with all of them. They want, David wants so badly for Austin to get an opportunity to be a racer. I think if you're a NASCAR fan, you have to love this story about Austin and carrying on, the tradition of their family. And so congratulations to Austin Green on his first top 10 finish, 7th place. Everybody saw Parker Klingerman and Sage Karam getting into it on pit road after the race. The ECR guy.
Yeah, I agree
Standing
with
in
you.
the way.
Come on, man.
That was so weird.
Yeah.
And he kept moving back and forth.
Yeah.
Like he's like, what are you doing?
Let him talk.
They were just talking.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Until he started that before he even really kind of got a chance to gauge whether Sage was going to be physical. It's just weird. He's been waiting for that moment.
Yeah, I mean, look, props to him for trying to keep it all civil, but they were just going to talk. I don't see why you had to get in the way.
And listen, if they end up throwing
Sage
hands
is just like the guy's in his way, and Sage is just like trying to talk to Parker. I can't see around this big
that's
jughead.
probably why they were yelling.
I can't see around this big jughead in front of me. Can we have a conversation? And he keeps moving, and the guy's like dancing with him. That was annoying. All right, ECR guy. Hey, I mean, at least turn around and look at Sage and be like, let's keep it civil.
Right.
And but dang,
Is that just a crew member's duty to protect their driver? Because I feel like you see that a lot of other instances where these crew guys just.
I don't want Sage to. I'm not hoping Sage just walks up and knocks Parker across the chin. That's not what I'm. If Sage wanted to do that, I would certainly want somebody to step in and stop it.
Right.
But that was Sage is just like, hey, and the guy's like,
Yeah.
and he's got his back to him. Like,
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Kind of looked weird to me.
Yeah.
Austin Hill. So Austin Hill, listen, first off, I got to give the guy some credit. He's sitting there with a chance to win this race against SVG and drove a great race. Austin Hill is good, talented.
Yeah.
He's won a lot of super speedway races, and when you do that, as I should know, you get stereotyped. That's all you can do. That's all you're good at, right? But he's good. He can drive and be fast anywhere, and his racecraft is actually. When I say his racecraft, I want to be careful. His ability to start the race, keep himself out of trouble, and net the best result possible is really, really good. Way better than some other people in the series. Way better than a lot of people in the series. All right? He does that as well as anyone in some cases. But he does drive into the back of people, and that's okay. If he's my driver and he's shoving people through corners, I'm like, yeah, get it.
And he's getting results too, so it's like,
yeah. But when it happens to him, he seems to have he seems to have an issue. He doesn't like it.
No.
Yeah.
He does not like it.
Definitely not.
He's not like his own medicine.
Yeah, he doesn't. That's something I think he needs to work on is, look, man, everybody is happy about SVG coming in here and racing, and everybody expects him to be a contender in that race in the Xfinity car at a road course like COTA, especially. And he's a V8 supercar racer. They're aggressive. Australians and New Zealanders by nature are aggressive racers, I think. I might have that wrong, but I think, look, man, he gave it as good as he got it. SVG gets out and he's like, that's fun.
Yeah.
We're good. It's I'm learning. This is a new style for me, new discipline. I'm getting it. But yeah, I'm all good.
Right.
That's how Austin should have got out. And went, I'm disappointed, but hell of a race. Great beating and banging with that guy.
Right.
Not frustrated about it.
Right.
Right.
And it's for the win too.
Yeah.
It's like
like what do you expect?
I'm watching a replay of this now. Like Austin Hill shoved SVG so far into turn one and just like took the lead, and then SVG
quickly forgot about that.
Yes.
Right.
And closer to the start finish line, more turns later, SVG does the same thing to him, and all of a sudden that's not okay.
Nobody got wrecked.
No.
Right?
Actually, Austin Hill ended up technically finishing better than SVG.
Yeah, because SVG
got the penalty.
Yeah, the penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, Austin Hill, I wish Austin Hill would get out and say, that's some damn good racing. Austin Hill he's a big boy. He's aggressive on the racetrack. He drives for RCR. There's all these ingredients to be, be the man, and sort of be imposing and gain fans from his his work on the track and his attitude about racing in general, right? And I think he's on the radio saying there's a bunch of the colleague were a bunch of wussies or whatever. I don't know what was the exact quote.
Well, he had a
like
quote where it said he didn't even give me a chance to make the corner. Yeah. So frustrating, which I mean, you could think that was SVG saying the same thing about Austin Hill.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if you're within reach in the last couple of corners at COTA, you're not getting a chance to make the corner.
Right,
you're not.
Yeah.
No matter what series, no matter what you're racing, unless you want to run, IndyCar or F1 where you can't touch. You're not gonna get a chance.
The quote you were looking for is he said, "It's a bunch of sissies over there."
Okay, so that. Don't do that.
Right.
Just get out and go. Good hard racing, man. I lost. I'm pissed, but good damn stuff. Hell, that was good racing.
Is a rivalry good though? If this SVG and
all
Austin Hill.
all rivalries are great, but I wonder. For Austin, I just feel like there's a better avenue for him in terms of helping his own perception and helping his own how people see him, right?
Image.
Image.
Do you think that this is an Austin Hill thing, or do you think this is a general sentiment towards SVG after his win at Chicago?
I don't think that's nothing. I don't know. I mean,
like
I'm not
people, we can't let this happen again.
Yeah, as it's like everybody's kind of out to make sure that this guy doesn't come in and embarrass
us again.
Right?
I don't think so. Right. So, all right, look at here's a great example. Just and because kind of similar scenario. Watkins Glen, best finish at Watkins Glen that you can think of.
It's the
Mark
Keselowski Ambrose.
How did those two guys get out and react to how physical that was?
It was great racing.
Didn't Brad get out and go, give him everything I had?
Yeah.
And, man, did they not drive each other into the corners, shoving each other through the final corners as hard as they could?
Yeah.
That's the way you do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
That's how you get out and go. Look, I mean, even when it sucks when you're on the wrong end of that or the guy gets the best of you, especially if you don't like the guy, man. I mean, if I'm racing, 2008 Kyle Busch into those final corners and he beats me, I'm going to get out and it's going to be hard for me to compliment the moment.
Right.
But you kind of got to see it for what it is. And that was awesome.
Right.
Do you have more of a right to be upset when neither of them won? Because ultimately they're racing for the win and Larson wins.
Well, I could see Larson was going to win that race when they took the white flag. You see how fast he was coming?
Yeah. Well, he had the fresher tires.
He runs right up on them in the S's. He still had, and they were definitely, so there was, I knew Larson was going to win. I got a text message I sent to my friends with like 2 laps to go. Larson. Because everybody was like, oh, is he going to catch him? SVG's got to catch him. Got to catch him. Oh, he's going to, once they come through turn 1, it's like SVG's got to put a hell of a lap together to be able to win this thing. I'm like, neither one of them winning. Because so Larson's catching them quick. As soon as SVG and he'll get within reach of each other, they're going to get physical and again start missing corners. And they did. They missed the last corner.
Yeah.
They missed the last couple of corners, and Larson goes right by. And he's no big deal. Great strategy. It was nice to see tires matter. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Anytime tires matter, it's nice.
So, congratulations to Rick and everybody putting that 17 out there. He wanted that number to win badly. Wanted that scheme and that number to win badly, and it finally got it done. Greg Ives, my buddy and old crew chief, made the call. That was the right winning call. So, good job by all those. You want to move on to the Cup race?
We can move on.
All right. Yeah. Christopher Bell's 150th start.
Congrats to him, man.
Can you believe that?
That is awesome.
My goodness.
That is fantastic news.
And I want to make, I don't know if it is actually, but William Byron's 78th start. Let's congratulate him.
Wow.
Is it William's
awesome.
78th
No, I'm just
start?
saying, but
Holy cow.
Unbelievable.
if it was, that's a big number.
We're talking about this on episode 526. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's a milestone.
Love that.
526?
It made me. NASCAR put a tweet out congratulating Christopher Bell on his 150th start. I wonder. I didn't do this homework, but I wonder what other drivers made 150 starts and didn't get a NASCAR tweet.
Oh, maybe they're making up for it because Netflix.
Oh
forgot
yeah,
about
he's
him.
yeah. I see your point. So they're
They're
trying
like,
to
"Oh, we
butter
feel
him up a
bad."
little bit. They feel bad.
Yeah.
You're not being overlooked. Look, we tweeted about your 100.
150th start.
We tweeted about your 50th start. Yeah. I look at the. You know what I did immediately? Since I'm a pissed off, grumpy old man.
That's right.
I went to the all-time starts, and so Richard Petty has 1,186, something like that.
Shoo. That's a number.
Yeah, he has 1,000 more starts.
That's crazy.
And Richard Petty is so 1,100 is like beyond elite,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? And then you have Ricky Rudd, Terry Labonte. I'm not naming this in perfect order, but you have all these other drivers that are like 700, 800, 900. I'm somewhere in the 600s, I think, or maybe the 500s. But I think, look, man, we talk about it on this show.
631 for you.
631. We talk about it on this show. We've talked about it before, and maybe nobody gives a but I get a little okay, 150. Yeah. It's not tweet worthy.
No.
It's not.
I don't think so.
That is not social media content. Like 400, maybe, because you're getting close. I think once you crest 500, now you've done it, right? You're in that club. And so, I mean, do you guys?
I agree.
When you hear 150, what do you think? I mean, do you go, wow, neat, okay, thanks for sharing that information? Do you really Do you really think that's good information?
I don't really pay much attention to it.
Yeah.
Hey, this
You
week-
don't. But what if it was like, wherever Denny is, he's got quite a few, right? So maybe Denny gets to a milestone that's like 550, 600.
630
So is it 630? So
through 6. Oh wait, no, sorry. That he's got more than that because
Right, 'cause
that's
this
through
was an old-
This is an old.
so if he's
document.
let's just assume he's below 650 and he gets to 650, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the tweet. No?
No, I think
I
think there's certain milestones. It's like 100
So you're okay with
Oh.
for yourself.
Yeah.
And
No.
then like 500, the team can post like 500,
Okay.
whatever. After that, I think it's then
When do
like,
you think NASCAR steps in to share this?
I think it's when
amazing
you like pass
information?
someone important on the list, right? Like, oh, he's eclipsed Jeff Gordon now for how many starts, or something
Yeah,
like that. I think the number doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
I don't come in here and go, "It's my 384th day of work."
Well, okay.
You know what I mean?
I think they're. I struggle with this one because I feel like that don't tell me about 100, 200, 150, 300. Don't tell me.
Right.
I don't. You're just in your career. You're just going. Just go. It's
100
not. Don't even freaking bring it up.
Right.
150 starts is about 4 seasons in a cup race. Imagine like them posting an NFL player. Congrats on your 4th NFL season.
Yes.
That is.
Yes. Thank you.
That is
Alex,
ridiculous.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Right. That's my point. So like, all right, let's just go on down the road. You're gonna bring this up.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a nothing burger.
But I think it is. And so when but when do you think it should matter?
I think 500.
500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By
I
the
think
way-
400's a pretty good number.
Okay.
400 starts is when maybe the social media machine should start cranking out
Okay.
some tweets. All right?
All right.
Yeah. Let's get everybody
We can bring it down
involved.
100.
Let's get everybody involved. Driver tweets, team tweets, NASCAR tweets.
Yeah.
and you
Right
get,
around 400.
Do it
you
all
get
at
a
once.
celebration on pit
Yeah.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pace the field.
Little cake.
Before the start of the race.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody cheers.
That's kind of what that felt like.
A little bit.
Right?
Yeah.
Is he gonna, 150 starts?
Yeah. It's
Are we
Christopher
gonna-
Bell Day.
yeah.
Everybody, yeah.
Is he going to give the command from the seat of his car?
Exactly.
He's announced last in driver intros.
Yes.
William Byron actually has 222 starts.
That
I wanted
is
to make that clear.
fantastic.
So
Good for
Wow.
him. I wouldn't have guessed he had
He
more
won
than
on-
Christopher
That's
Bell.
why I
He
was
might
like
be the first
78,
driver
but-
to win on his 222nd start.
All right, so let's get into the race. We haven't even talked about the race. So during the we talked about track limits last week. I told y'all to enjoy those. The Xfinity and the Truck Series gave us 37 penalties of the that we know of. Right, there were probably at least
That were
50 track limit violations. 50 would be a round number that I feel good about. The Cup race did not have. I don't think the Cup race had quite as many of those. I felt that was probably going to be the case because the car's easier to control. I don't want to say it's easier to drive because nothing at the limit is easy, but it's just more. It's better suited and better well built for left and right turns, right? Where the truck and the Xfinity car, even Byron gets out after qualifying and goes, man, that thing's a handful. No grip. And so, you get in a Cup car and they just better at not making those mistakes. And so we didn't see quite as many issues with that. But we didn't see yellows either. We had the stage cautions that are sort of they're not fake yellows, but they're
Not the natural
Non-cautious.
caution.
not the natural
Yeah,
yellows.
non-naturals, yep.
Yes. And so they're fabricated yellows, whatever you want. I don't know what you call them. But anyways, I had a conversation with somebody in the industry about, well, why didn't NASCAR throw yellows? They had debris all over turn 8, right? Turn 8's the turn where they were cutting,
Right.
I think. And so I got a picture of that, and I sent that to you,
Crazy.
Andrew. It was covered in obviously covered in dirt from the inside of the curbing, but also little rocks covered that corner. And when I saw that picture, I thought, I think that's reason enough to throw a yellow. Maybe not like inside 10 laps to go. You let it play out. But I think if you're sitting there with that kind of track conditions, you could have thrown a yellow with 20 to go and said, we really need to clean this up.
Yeah.
This has gotten out of hand.
It almost didn't even look like track.
No.
It looked like a sand trap almost.
So, there, all of the spins, the solo spins and all that stuff going on, that's no reason to throw a yellow on a big track like that unless a car stalls, gets stuck or whatever. But I think the corner, you could argue that the situation on the track, the surface of the racetrack in turn 8 was maybe reason enough to say, all right, with 20 to go or 15 to go, still a long ways in that race, we could get a yellow to clean this up. Otherwise, man, I mean, if there's no reason to throw a yellow, don't throw it. I saw this really interesting stat on social media. Somebody did a little homework that was really, really cool. I wish I had this to show it to you guys. But in all of NASCAR history up until around 2000, just some roughly 2000, 2004, NASCAR had an average of, let's just say, 1.5 debris cautions a race, right? For 30 years. That was the average. And right around 2000 to 2004, from that moment up until stage cautions, the number of debris yellows jumped by 2 per race. And I mean, I was talking about this in my driving career in the 2000s and 2000 teens about these debris yellows. And they were horse.
Right.
They would have a caution and wouldn't even, the network wouldn't even be able to show you anything on the racetrack because it didn't exist.
Phantom
phantom
debris.
yellows,
Yep.
right? They were real. They weren't real yellows, but the phantom yellows did exist because there was a chunk of time for about 15 years where the yellow flags for debris just inexplicably jumped by 2 per race from a 30-year history. And then, as soon as stage cautions came back, that number of debris yellows reset back to the norm. How about that?
Think you're onto something, Dale.
There's going to be a Reddit thread about this in a few
Yeah.
days. Someone's going to investigate this
They should.
further.
I saw something on social media, and man, maybe I even saved the damn picture of it. But I was so like, holy shit, there it is. I'm not even going to waste our time looking for it, but it's pretty cool. And I was like, yes, there's the proof. But look, I like the race playing out. If it's an authentic ass kicking, and there's no reason to throw a yellow, let's not turn it into an entertainment show, right? Let's not manufacture anything. But right before this race, this is when I had my hot take that might have been a little bit sideways. I said after the Xfinity race, I was disappointed with the Xfinity race. I didn't enjoy it. Now, the beating and banging on the last lap, that's great.
Right.
I enjoyed that moment, but that doesn't make a good race to me, right? And so, a good finish doesn't mean it was a great race. 3 of my cars got black flagged for course cutting. I was disappointed we didn't get the 4x4. But the 8 car, Sammy, he had other issues. So it was just a rough day across the board for Junior Motorsports. That played a role in probably my feelings about enjoying the race. But, we had a lot of guys that I saw cutting the course that didn't get penalized. And a lot of people that it was just frustrating to watch. And I'm like, I'm getting more and more angry about the design of the course. Never at one point in the weekend was I frustrated with NASCAR and their rulings or their decision making. It's impossible to get that perfect. You can't. There's cars going through there side by side. You're like, well, I can't penalize the guy, even though it looked like he probably was on the inside of the curb. I couldn't see it because there's another car between us. So I mean, you can't perfectly govern this. But I want to talk about this some more. Byron is called in. We can ask him about this ourselves. What is the answer going forward? We can even cover my hot take that went south. Let's get him on the phone. Hey, William.
Hey.
How's it going, buddy?
You got me?
Yeah, I do. Sound great. You're at the office.
I am. I'm at Hendrick right now.
What you got today?
I've got a couple interviews, and then we do our sim for Texas actually, and then we'll talk about Richmond afterwards with Rudy and the engineers. So
when you
just
gonna
do
ring the bell?
Couple hour meeting.
You gonna ring the bell today?
Not today. I think it's scheduled for like 2 weeks from now.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
we got a little bit of time.
Got you, man. That's always fun going around They got this bell.
Yeah.
We do it here at Junior Motorsports. We stole the idea from Hendrick. Victory bell. You take it all the way around the whole property. Everybody gets to ring the hell out of this thing. It's a lot of fun, man. Hey, I wanted to talk to you. We were just talking about COTA, track limits. I got so frustrated at the track limits during the Xfinity race. I thought we should never go back to COTA. But I didn't think it would be an issue in the Cup race. And you talked about how the cars are just more reliable, but also the car's purpose built to be able to turn left and right, and it probably goes around that racetrack better or easier than a Busch car, so you're less mistake prone. And I talked to Kevin Harvick a little bit this morning about this as well. What is the answer? What is the answer? We don't want NASCAR in the officiating of track limits. We don't want to be at a racetrack where we even have to say the word. So what do you think is the answer to this? Have you had a chance to talk about that? Does it even matter? I mean, you won the race. Sometimes when I win a race, I could care less what everybody else's problems are.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree on that. A lot of times, you win and your judgment's a little different. But I do feel like, so during the race for me, like I hated the track limits because as the leader, I felt like I was at a disadvantage. Like if I want to be aggressive with my line and make time, if I'm in second or third, like I'm going to push that stuff a lot more. So I hate that that's the case because I feel like as a leader, you're in a spot where you don't really want to make that mistake. And you don't know, I guess, how aggressive they're going to be in calling it. So I just feel like they've got to limit, they've got to protect us from ourselves basically and put some curbing in that we can, that is a clear line that we're going to damage our car or go over it and mess up our race. And so I just think that's the only way with big, heavy stock cars that you're going to protect us because we're going to use all the track and the only limit to that is walls or curbs that are going to damage the car.
So I talked to Kevin a little bit, and he said that they have all types, different types, sizes, and heights of curbs, the turtles that a lot of people like to call them, and they have them at that facility that they do install different curbing around that racetrack for different series to race. And so there may be, I think the perfect world would be to find some type of a curbing that would not hurt your car, but it would just be a slower line to use it, right? You wouldn't want to use it because you just go slower through the segment of the course. So maybe there's an answer there. We always think, it's a lot of people and myself included, we get trapped into thinking no curbs or full blue turtles, right? That's the only options. Well, there's some middle ground there on the severity of the curb that would be enough of a deterrent. But there's also the mouthpieces, and they've seen a lot of great data in the last couple of years of what you guys go through, so much so that they're cutting curbs like at the entrance to the bus stop at Watkins Glen. They actually shaved that down because they learned that it was so severe for you guys to have to go through that. I mean, is that a concern? Not so much, you worry about the car, but also the drivers as well. What is it like for the driver to go over those curbs?
For sure. Like Watkins Glen in 2022 when the car was new, we all try to get as close, get our cars as low as possible. And with that, you've got the pucks on the bottom of the car. So the first few times I actually ran double duty in 2022. So I ran Xfinity and Cup at Watkins Glen, and I ran the Xfinity car, and I was like, man, the ride quality is not too bad. It's rough through the bus stop, but it's okay. I got in the Cup car to practice, and no joke, like the first run, I hit the curb and my head hurt. And I was like, damn, like that hurt. Like I need a minute. And so I think that is a little bit, that's what we're up against with this car. It's pretty rigid, but it's gotten a lot better as we've improved the ride quality and the shocks and springs. But that first time 2022, I remember hitting the curb and feeling like I needed to take a breather.
Yeah, they trimmed the curb down on the entrance to the bus stop, and I actually got to go see it and saw some pictures as well. And you guys are going to be right up against that barrier heading into that corner. It's going to be awesome, but a little bit better entry.
Yeah.
The NextGen car, man, you have won more races in this car than any other driver. When you hear about your success in the last couple of years, what's the emotion? Are you relieved that things are finally clicking? Does it still feel like a dream to you to even be here? Kind of what's the driving emotion? I mean, in my mind, you're easily going to win 30 races or more in your career. I could be looking at a guy that wins 50, 60, maybe even more than that. If you're so young, so driven, so focused, if you stay the course, the success should be pretty linear. And so have you even had a chance to think about that, how your career is shaping up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it took me a while to kind of crack the code and understand what it takes on a weekly basis to be competitive. And I feel like part of that came from just maturity in the race car, racecraft, like mindset, like all those things had to click. And then I had to get the right people around that also that I could be honest with and give them the feedback and they would understand what to give me in the car. And so that all those things kind of coincided around a couple of years, I'd say 2021, when we started going on a string of top 10s and, very consistent performance.
Yep.
And then, I think, to answer your question about like my career, I think honestly, it's really up to me and how hard I want to work and how much, desire I have to succeed. And so if my love for racing continues at this level, I feel like I can be competitive week in and week out. So it's just trying to manage the distractions so that I can love what I do, because I truly love competing and racing, and I love the challenges, and I just try to approach every week with a similar process, and knowing that process now is effective.
Do you ever have guys, young guys coming into the Truck Series or the Xfinity Series, ask you for advice yet?
Not as much as you would think. I mean, I think whether they're afraid to or whether they just don't really know me. I mean, I'm probably not super approachable. I'm pretty quiet and reserved. So Raja and I have gotten to know each other, and he's probably been the biggest one that's come up to me in passing in the garage and just share notes about the racetrack and things like that. And I have a few buddies, Stefan is kind of working his way through the Truck Series. So I try to help as much as I can, and we give feedback to each other. Like he told me the brake marker for turn 1 for the initial start. So I was like, dude, where am I going to brake? So I think just I've got certain buddies, we've been, buddies since I started racing, and then some of the younger guys might ask questions here or there.
Yeah, I think that you talk about cracking the code and sort of understanding the effort that needs to be put into this, and where you need to put your focuses to be able to improve and get good at this. I think you would be the perfect guy to go to, because all that's so fresh. You've just literally done this in the last couple of years. For a Connor Zillich or somebody like that, I would definitely be seeking you out to find out what's worked and what hasn't. So you talked about your love for racing. We know that you love to race at the grassroots level. It seems that you kind of pick your spots. Where are you with that? Any more races in the future? Any races this year? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I think as I get in a rhythm for the season, I wanted to be a little more strategic about it this year, not plan so far ahead, because I felt like last year a couple things happened. I moved into a house, and I was personally just trying to get kind of my life sorted out. And I felt like it was stressful to go and plan a 10 race or 15 race schedule before I really knew. And I ended up being way overwhelmed in the summertime and had a bit of a slump. So I just feel like I want to organically kind of plan those races, but I would love to. I love those cars. Like Chase talked about, I feel like the super late model translates a lot to the Cup car. And there's a ton of good racetracks that you can go to. So there's a couple good races in May that we're working on putting some stuff together and hopefully do some stuff over the summer.
Man, that's great to hear about how the next gen car can compare and translate to the Super, because you felt like, or at least I felt like, or worried that with the way that the next gen car is built, the components and everything, that it was spacing itself further from anything else that runs on ovals in this country. So it's good to hear there's some correlation there to encourage Cup guys to get down in those cars and go compete.
Yeah, the rack and pinion, I think, made that the steering.
Yeah.
That was a huge, like and that might have been why the next gen has helped me, because I did grow up doing the super late models towards the end, going into truck series, and I feel like that was similar right away.
So me and you have talked about the Titanic. You built. We talked about Legos. I got my Titanic in the mail from eBay. I have not started. I've got I know that I need a dedicated place. You said it'd take weeks, even if I was, and I don't have, I probably don't have the time to dedicate to it. It's probably going to take me a longer period of time to do this. So I have a dedicated spot in my house. But all of this talk and everything you did with the Netflix sort of started the rumor of a possible relationship with Lego. Is that something you're hoping for? Is it something that's in the works?
Man, your guess is as good as mine. I hope so. I hope so for sure. I definitely have a few sets I'm going to build here soon. I got the Mercedes F1 car that I'm going to build. And so, yeah, I mean, we're just going to keep it going. It's natural for me. It's something I enjoy. I would love to have them as a partner, because I feel like it would be it'd be one of the few partners that is really applicable to my everyday life. So that would be cool.
Between one last question, man. You're one of the drivers that, like myself and a few other of the younger drivers, really, I think you look at the sim for NASCAR as a tool that's useful. I'm curious as to how much, having been a fan of racing simulations and iRacing over the years, I'm curious as to how much you still use the manufacturer sim. How much of that is still part of your week, your month? How much would you factor in percentage-wise as you're trusting that sim, trusting the information you're getting from it?
Yeah, I mean, we've got unlimited information, especially with being, Hendrick Motorsports and Chevy and everything. So I can use it as much as I want to, but we have to be careful of what we pick and choose to use. So, even though you have all this information, you got to decipher what is actually valuable. So yeah, I mean, we use it for certain tracks more than others.
Like what?
I would say we're in there the most, like for 1.5 mile tracks and for some of the new tracks. And then there's some places like the road courses we don't use it much because we have a good notebook. So it just varies, but just because it's there doesn't mean it's always what you use 100%. But we definitely do. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you giving us some time. Congratulations on your win. Congratulations on all the success that you've had over the last several years. You're making another run toward an opportunity to win a championship, which I think you're going to win one of these days. William Byron on the Dale Jr. Download. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Have a good one.
Pretty interesting. I talked to Kevin this morning right before we started recording, and he told me, he's like, at that racetrack at COTA, they have like all these curbings stored to use when different series come to that racetrack. And he's like, it's not just there's different levels, different heights, and so maybe there is this perfect curbing that doesn't destroy the race car, but is slower if you use it right. If you go over it, it upsets the car enough that you'd rather not do that. And William even talked about this, the roughness of the car. So you would then therefore maybe want to avoid it because of how uncomfortable that might be, right? But I went on Twitter and said the Xfinity Series should be running the spring Bristol, which I still think they should not skip Bristol any chance they get to go there.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to run that race this year instead of the night race. I wanted to run the first Bristol race and get my Xfinity race done. But I definitely wanted to go back to Bristol, but I got to wait till the back half of the year. And then my hope one day is that Wilkesboro gets a points race. They ran the trucks there last year. They're going to run them there again. I'd love for the Wilkesboro to have an Xfinity race in points and possibly a Cup race one day in points. I'm still of the mind that Wilkesboro's not all the way there yet. It's back. It's an all-star race, but we want more.
What does it need?
A points race.
Yeah, okay.
So when it gets that, I'll be like, all right, I can finally relax, right? The climb up, is over. So, I don't mean, I guess I don't want all of that to happen at the expense of Austin, Texas, right? At the expense of COTA. But man, we've got to do something different. And I talked to NASCAR a little bit when I called them about the rear end housing coming out of that truck. They told me that they won't go back there the same. Whether that means different or better, more efficient officiating, because there is some technology and there's some the officiating for the course cutting isn't all judgment. It isn't all, well, did we see it or not? There is some technical and real, they have this system that they use for pit road, right? And it's a camera system that's triggered by a car, a tire rolling away or a car being out of the box. No one even has to watch it. A human doesn't even need to watch it. Now there are people that watch it to sort of back up the system, but the system runs itself and penalizes teams based on the information that it gets. And they have those same systems governing some of the corners of this racetrack at COTA, right? And so if we can improve that to where, and if NASCAR could share openly that, hey, we have a computer system, cameras, and all these things that are going to govern this. We're not just up there doing balls and strikes, because that's kind of how it feels, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think if mentally I can get somewhere where I'm like, all right, man, it's a system, it's a computer system. I'm not going to argue that, right? Now, I can argue if it's a human being that's missing some and catching some others. But so there's the possibility that the process of governing the track limits gets better technology-wise, but also Harvick told me that there's these varying heights of curbs that could be put in place that maybe don't, destroy the car, but it's enough of a deterrent, right, that a guy would want to avoid them. Or it would obviously, they may still use them, but they'd never go all the way to the inside, right? And so maybe there's a combination of a lot of things that, and I think NASCAR is definitely going to make these adjustments. They will not go back to COTA without some sort of attempt at a solution, which I think is a good thing.
And you kind of talked about, that curbing. DBC brought up that, they want to see the return of turtles to, eliminate that invisible track limit. So, and Byron even mentioned it, too. If we could take it out of the driver's hands and it's just part of the course.
And it doesn't have to be these giant blue things at
at Roval.
Like at the Roval. It doesn't. There's other, there's other styles and heights and varying degrees of severity. So maybe there's some middle ground there. We don't want to tear the race car up, right? But we definitely want to try to figure out how to get these drivers to race on the track. Denny had a take on his show.
He basically said that there should be a common sense rule that
he said
on a restart,
that's
let things out.
You can't do that.
All right.
It'll be chaos.
Yeah.
Everybody will be all over the damn track. They'll be way off.
Right.
Yeah. And so then you're going to have to go, well, that was too severe. Right. Now we're back to
how far is too far?
Now the box is big for a lap and then gets a little small. I mean, no. Come on, Denny.
Yeah.
Denny didn't have a lot of time to think about that one. I'll give him that.
I blame the people who gave him the the platform to say it.
That's not me. I'm just kidding. So, anyways, I don't want COTA to go away. I got a little flack for saying that on social media. But I just badly want the Wilkesboro track to survive another, couple decades. And I guess in my mind, until it gets a points race at the Cup level, it's not really achieved that survivability that I'm looking for. But after the race, Marcus Smith said it looks like they're already planning their return to COTA in 25, so nothing to worry about there. And Marcus is the promoter, not the owner of the facility, but he does promote that race, as he promotes Wilkesboro. I text him, and I said, man, this is frustrating, the track limits on Saturday during the Xfinity race. I said, this is so frustrating. Right. I said, man, we got to do something different. And he's like, yeah, I'm a little frustrated with it too. He's the promoter of the track, and he said, I said they should go to Wilkesboro, and I said it on Twitter, but everybody disagrees. So, they're loving it. What you're doing is the fans are loving it. So, I'm sure he was happy to hear that. But I think a lot of people, it's funny, at the end of the Xfinity race, everybody was in love with COTA, and then some of those people fell off the wagon Sunday.
For me, it seems like we're just not racing at a track it's not designed for NASCAR. It's designed for F1, but that's still my biggest thing with COTA is like, this is an F1 track. Yeah,
that would be my opinion too, Andrew, is I never was frustrated with NASCAR, the drivers, or really anything other than the person that designed this racetrack. When you design a track that a series then has to create track limits for, you could have did it differently. That a racetrack that has track limits, that's a flaw in that specific area. The other side of that argument would be, I think there's drivers that have raced in our series that have come from super cars. They've came from IndyCar, and they will say these NASCAR guys are the only ones that drive beyond the track limits.
Right.
Like they come into our series and go, this is absurd. You shouldn't be allowed to go way offline at turn 1 at Watkins Glen or out of the carousel. What is that? That's absurd. Right? We see it and we go, that's normal. Go wherever you want to go. Race wherever you want to race, right? But basically every other series in the country or in the world even looks at NASCAR and sees us running way offline and going, what the hell is that? That's BS. You ever think about it like that?
I mean, I
don't care. I mean, I'm okay with it.
I look at it the opposite way. I watch an F1 race. I'm like, this is so stupid. Why are we? Yeah.
I don't see the absurdity of us running way offline on certain corners and exits and stuff like that. But when you look at it from their point of view and you go, all right, every other series in the country for the most part, all the top series, right, IndyCar and F1, they see that and they go, wow, these guys are different.
I'm happy to be different.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some scenarios in V8 supercars, IndyCar, and F1 where they are offline, right?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Be hard
Maybe
not to.
Too extreme as we are, but let's see. Kyle Busch, Christopher Bell. Kyle Busch went right after him, man.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how much taller Kyle is than Christopher.
Yeah.
Looked like about a foot taller than Christopher.
Seemed like it.
Yeah.
Did you see Christopher Bell tried to dap him up right afterwards?
Nope.
Yeah.
He
was trying to go for the
shake?
Walked away.
The shake hand.
Oh yeah. Don't go for that.
Didn't work.
I didn't see that, but that's not a good. You're not getting a handshake.
He didn't read the
guy's
situation.
Yeah.
So Kyle Busch says he's wrecked him 3 times at that race.
I think he was saying
2 or 3
that's
times.
twice. Jeff Gluck and Jordan were saying that he kind of mouthed that's twice. There won't be a third.
Oh,
is kind of what he was saying.
Did he wreck him there last year?
Is what they said.
Yes.
Yep. So apparently that's twice in a row at COTA.
And did he say? Who said you got one coming?
It was a speculation, basically, of he might be. Kyle Busch is known to return the favor. So in our book, it seems like he's gonna have one coming probably. Right.
Josh Berry wrecked Kobayashi. The they were on the same strategy in stage 2, which suggests that nobody was going to be short on fuel. We talked about this on our phone call.
Right.
I
think Barry had to pit one more time. So
really?
Yeah.
So both of them did?
Well, so Barry pit. He stayed out and collected stage points at the end of stage 2, pit during the stage 2 caution, and along with a bunch of other guys on that strategy, they all pit one more time before the race is over.
The reason why we're wondering about that is because, so let's just say Josh dumped Kobayashi on purpose. Something happened the corner before or whatever, and this is not uncommon. So I've been in this sport a long time, and you get these ringers that come in, and they race different. They have different ideas on what a block is, what fair is, what clean is. Not good or bad, just different. They just have a different way of racing, and they're different methods from where they come from. And so, but sometimes they'll do something, and you're like, no, not doing that to me today. And you might dump them, because they're in for a one-off. They're not there all year. You might not never race this guy again in your life. And you're frustrated with your day and getting frustrated by getting used up by a guy who doesn't do this every week. It's like, no, I'm not letting that happen, and I'm going to show you why.
Right.
And so the thing that makes it even, I guess I'm not, not too spun out over that. No pun intended.
Nice.
No.
Nice.
I don't know. I think it's fine. Those guys are always going to get used up. If they don't SVG and go to the front of the field like he did at Chicago, they are going to get used up by our Cup regulars because,
and that was
just the way it's going to go. That first race is going to be a tough one for anybody.
And that was at least last year.
I know he raced last year,
but we had all those one-off ringers. I think Jensen Button, Kobayashi, even Jordan Taylor filling in for Chase Elliott. Their biggest feedback was how aggressive drivers are in the Cup Series.
Yeah, I think if you come in to run a one-off, it's going to be tough unless you can have so much speed that you're right up in that top 3, clear of the mess, right? Clear of the muck. But if you're struggling, if you're an expert like road racer and you come in and you're whatever it is, car, whatever it is, you're struggling and you're mid-pack, you're going to get beat around, pushed around. It is going to be an experience that you've never had before. Ty Gibbs gets I don't know if it's criticism. It says here in the notes he gets some criticism for not letting Bell go. People were asking if he had let Bell go, his teammate, could Bell have won the race? There's an argument to be said that, should he have let Bell by easier because Bell was going to close in on Byron and make a race for it. And who's to say, I don't think so. I know so. You shouldn't, if Ty Gibbs decides to do that, that's on him.
Right.
But no one should expect him to do that. That's my kind of position on it. What if the Byron car breaks? Then Ty Gibbs basically let his teammate by and gave up the win, right? The 24 could break. Something could happen. He'd get a flat. He could get a course-cutting penalty. You don't know, right? So you can't let your teammate get by in that moment.
Bell is a win, too, so that's What does he need another one for? I don't have a win. I'm going for my first career win.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Another great point. Man, you're hot.
Yeah,
keep going.
Good day. Ty Gibbs, he's second in the points. I don't know if you knew that.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're on a roll, buddy.
I am. I'm this is my last show. I'm gonna end it on a high note.
People were mad at me because I didn't let Jeff Gordon pass at Martinsville to get my first Martinsville win. That was going to affect him in the points for that year. But man, you gotta. That's just not the way it works. Anyways, we talked to the race winner, William Byron. He dominated the day, sat on the pole, and led a lot of laps. And, that was the race. Byron.
Pretty much. That you just described the race in about a sentence there.
Yep.
He got out and won. Yeah. That was it.
So, all right. So has there old man coming in to complain. Has the
we need like a sound design.
Yeah.
Alert.
We had the short track package has been the short track package has been debated and criticized for quite some time. Road courses have suffered similarly, and a lot of people look at the packages very similar. Okay, the NextGen car comes in, it's amazing at the mile and a half. It's good. We saw some improvements. We've seen improvements at the short tracks. The Martinsville tire from at the end of the year last year was a good advance, and they're working on the tires, and we saw Bristol was crazy. A lot of people like that. So we've seen some things moving, some change in the short track side of things, but not so much on the road course side of things, right? And so how far do we go down the road continuing to kind of see these very, straightforward road course races that are pretty much all so similar? Road courses used to be thrilling, right? Even though I don't love road course racing, I don't tune in because, oh man, it's road course. I can't wait. I'm not looking forward at the schedule and going, when's the next road course? One was enough back when we just raced at Riverside in the 80s. That was plenty. But a lot of people love road course racing. A lot of people love stock cars in our drive. A lot of people that are in our fan base. That's an important part of the season. So how far do we go? When do we start seeing some tries, some effort, I guess, in affecting how the product looks on those racetracks?
One thing,
is it needed?
I mean, I think so. I mean, Byron said in his post-race press conference that the cars are just so reliable, and especially these teams have learned the next-gen car, so that's why we didn't see that many cautions. Yeah. There seemed to be some sort of switch that was flipped because all of a sudden, second half of the year, the road course racing is like, holy cow. There's a reason we added cautions, to the Roval last year.
Yeah, we tried to figure out, maybe just taking those yellows away would change it.
Right.
We added them back quickly, and that's fine. I thought that would, that seemed like, okay, we have a I hate to say the word boring because we don't even let our kids use that word. I'm bored. That's a bad word. The races left a lot to be desired, and so they thought, well, let's take the cautions out and see if that changes the way the races look, right? And it didn't, so we add them back. That's fine. But there's two things I think that sit out there in front, and I almost hate to keep bringing it up, but horsepower, right? If the cars had just so much horsepower that they were hard to get around the track and easy to screw up, what we need is screw-ups.
Yeah.
And not just, wrecks. We need guys spinning their tires, trying to get on the gas and not being able to, and somebody being able to do it better. We need guys sliding through corners, missing apexes, and all of those things. And so horsepower would cause those things to happen. And also, alternatively, a narrow tire, so less tire on the track. So the car is built symmetrically, so it should go around a road course really well. And then we have this giant tire on it, a really, really big tire, a lot of tire on the racetrack, a lot of surface. And so it drives really good, right? Comparable to some things that raced there this past weekend, like the trucks and Xfinity cars. So maybe NASCAR could have this big tire at some tracks where we don't really need to make any changes and try to develop a wheel that has a smaller, more narrow tread for road courses. Because, when I look at I went over to Australia to test a V8 supercar. V8 supercar's got a ton of power. But it's a road course car. It's got a lot of downforce, and it's going to handle. And if you put a gigantic tire on that thing, you're going to fly. But they had these tires they used to be like from the Porsche Carrera Cup tire, which was not enough tire. It's not enough tire, but that was good. You could blow the tires off, you could burn them up, you could beat them up, you could abuse them, and they would not fail, but they would not perform well. And if you slid them, spun the rear tires, or any of those things, those tires, they would give up quickly. They would tap out. And so that's kind of where we need to be with this car. We got way too much tire. The tire is just too good. Too good. So we need the drivers to have, to go back to, what we were saying after Bristol. We need the drivers to have to be careful. Not abuse the tire, not spin it, not slide it. And the ones that can't do that, can't take care of it, will be penalized by a drop in lap time and a lack of performance and a grip falling off and all of these things. And they're going to be like, And so I think that's where road course needs to go. And I would love to see like some things coming together like we've seen on the short track side to try to get the road course racing a little bit more dynamic.
Dalton, did you know that Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with more than 10,000 different kinds of plants and over 2 million happy customers in the U.S.? You can grow lemon, avocado, or fig trees inside your home on top of a wide variety of houseplants available. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to order online and have your plants shipped directly to your door in 1 to 2 days. And along with their 30-day Alive and Thrive guarantee, they offer plant consultation forever.
Man,
it's pretty good.
That's
pretty
awesome. It seems like they've got every base covered when it comes to your plant growing needs, that's for sure. They have thousands of plants that match your climate, location, and specific needs for whatever you end up wanting.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Right now, they have the best deals online, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get an additional 15% off their first purchase when using the code Dale Jr. at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code Dale Jr. at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code Dale Jr. Offer valid for a limited time. Tell them we sent you.
Oh, hey. I didn't notice you there. I was just checking my emails.
What a way to start that.
Welcome to Ask
so
Junior.
Stupid.
Stupid's a bad word in our house.
I'm sorry.
Did you say stupid?
No.
Okay.
I was bored.
We play back.
That's another one. Hey, everybody. It's Dale Jr. And we're having a lot of fun here in the Dale Jr. download today in the Bojangles Studio. And trying to get that out. Got to get my Xfinity read here. Which I don't even need this because I'm a customer, right? But this is new. So this year, over the last several years, we've been talking about Xfinity Internet, and I've been, that's been easy for me because I've been using it, and it's great. But this year they want us to promote their Xfinity Mobile. It's the fastest mobile service with 5G coverage, millions of Wi-Fi hotspots. You drive around all the time seeing those hotspots popping up on your phone. Nationwide coverage. Always going to come through in a clutch situation. Make the switch today. You can save with Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity is a proud premier partner of NASCAR. We all know that. We're very thankful for everything that they do. Yeah. So, anyways, thank them for supporting our Ask Junior segment. Always a lot of fun. We had a really good show, I think. You'll be the judge. Coming up later today, talking about trucks and Xfinity, COTA. I had an idea that the Xfinity Series should go to North Wilkesboro instead of COTA. I got trashed for that idea, but that's part of it, man. You're going to throw some takes out there. You're not going to win every day. But we got some questions coming up from Xfinity on X or Twitter. I'm getting there. I'm
calling
Still
it Twitter.
All right. And, yeah, let's see what you got today. This has been a really good segment for the last several months, so let's keep going.
Yes, and this first question coming from Bill on Twitter. Sorry, I just had to. I'm not changing the way I'm saying it. He said, "Have you ever had any weird or crazy dreams about racing?"
Oh man, I will say I'm the kind of person that doesn't remember their dream often. But there are nights when I wake up and I realize that I was dreaming, and I will be able to recount whatever happened, which is always fun. I'm not sure I'd want to be a person that remembered every dream from every night, right? You'd wake up every day going, whew, glad that wasn't real, or whew, I wish that was real. Or, you'd have that sort of emotion too. That'd be too much. But I'll tell you this, man. Just about maybe it's less often, at least it hasn't happened in a long time, but I was dreaming about Dad at least once a year. And it would be it wouldn't be anything wouldn't something significant happening. We would just be in the same place, and we might be at a racetrack or around a race car, and there would other people are around, and not anything of note would happen.
But we were
just there, right? And I liked that. I really did. I felt like when you lose a parent. And I'm going to answer the question, but when you lose a parent, you never see them again. They're not here, right? That's a real hard reality that you're not ever going to walk into the room and they'll be sitting there ever, right? So when you dream about them, it's sort of this little cheat code, and it's nothing that you can control. You can't do it as often as you want, and so it feels legitimate. Like when it happens, you're like, man, I wake up and I'm like, man, I dreamed about Dad last night. It was like an exciting thing, right? Yeah. That you got to see him. Even if you didn't talk or engage or communicate, it's just like getting to see him again. And real dreams can feel. So that's kind of the same way it is with racing. I don't dream about driving a car often, but when it happens, it's like you wake up and you're like, when you wake up and you remember that you dreamed about racing, you're like, damn, I dreamed about a race last night. I still got the bug. So it's always good. You never have any nightmares about racing, dreams, but it doesn't happen enough. And but when it does happen, my dreams aren't, I don't know how most people are, but my dreams are like short segments that are like from one thing to another, bam, 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 and then I wake up. There's no end. There's no solution. No resolution. There's no victory moment or nothing, right? It's just I dreamed and I woke up in the middle of it, every time. And I'm like, usually you're like, damn it, I wish I could figure out what happened.
Yeah.
What was the end? And there's a couple of times you ever woke up and you're like, try to go back to sleep so you can finish the dream.
Yes, 100%.
You ever do that?
Yeah. You're like, it doesn't work.
No, it don't. No.
It's terrible.
They say if you think whatever you're thinking about, if you're really thinking about pondering something really, really hard and you fall asleep, that tends to, that could encourage the dream
to keep going.
Be about, the dream to be about that thing, right? So, because we do, we'll worry, right, about something, and then ultimately dream about it.
Yeah.
Days later, right? So sometimes this is gonna sound hilarious. Like sometimes I go to bed thinking about something I enjoy, hoping to dream about it, right?
Okay.
So like I'm thinking about sim racing or playing Hell Let Loose or, boy, I wish I was a football player. I'm daydream about playing for Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
See if that might become a dream. That I can
number
vicariously live out this reality in a dream. Is it weird? Am I weird?
Your ideal dream is playing a video game?
One of them.
Well, I will play video games and then I'll get so tired that I got to go to bed, but I don't want to stop playing video games. So I go to bed hoping to dream about playing the video game. That's hilarious. I just heard that come out of my mouth. I'm like, that's pretty stupid. No, but it never happens. I can't never like force myself to dream about something. And plus I may dream about it, but I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Right. Rarely do I wake up and remember my dreams. There's no telling how many times I've dreamed about racing or my dad and not even remembered it.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
I always dream like before a triathlon that it's race morning and I missed it. That's my biggest thing. And then I wake up and I'm like, I'm not missing this race. Like I wake up before my alarm, all that. That's crazy stuff.
Good question.
This next question coming from Colbert. Maybe we've asked this before. If not, if we have, I apologize. What's the strangest thing you've ever autographed?
Yeah, we've been asked that before, but
I have a spin on that question.
Okay. Yeah, I'll answer it again. I mean, the one thing that I learned about television is that every time you're doing a show, it's going to be a different audience. So maybe some of the people that don't know this answer hadn't heard it. We were in Indianapolis, and I don't know that this was the very first time this happened, but this is one of the memories. We're in Indianapolis, and you got right outside of the bus, there was this rope, and there were, I don't know, 2 dozen people waiting for autographs, die casts, and all the stuff, right? So you're going to come out of the bus on your way to practice, sign some autographs as many as you can, then move on down the line and head on to the car or whatever for practice. And somebody pulled their prosthetic leg off for me to sign it. And I was like, all right, that was the first. And it's an unusual object to sign, right? It's just like, it's not your die-cast, shirt leg. It catches you by surprise. As it would, I think, anybody.
Yeah.
But you sign it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
The spin on that question I have for you, and I've asked a handful of drivers in the current Cup field this, and I'm going to compile all their answers, and it's pretty good. But have you ever had, to sign your name on someone's arm and they get it tattooed? And is there extra pressure to do that?
I hate that because Sharpie doesn't write good on skin.
Mm-hmm.
So the autograph that I've tried to write always looks terrible in my opinion. I'll write it and I go, I really wish you wouldn't get that tattooed because it's so bad. And so what I try to do is get a blank sheet of paper and say, let me sign it on this paper. You give that to your artist. He'll get that on your arm. I know they want the real signature. It feels more legitimate, but it just never works out like you want it to, right? Mm-hmm. And something about that physical proximity and all is very uncomfortable, right? Being that close to a stranger and writing on them is just a weird concept, right? It's just it's awkward. It's uncomfortable. But people want that.
Yeah.
But I always encourage them to let me sign it on a nice sheet of paper that we can, your artist can use that. And some of them are like, nah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
That's not as good.
Give me the sloppy one.
I'm like, my idea sounds great. Surprised that.
I mean, it's only permanent. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any tattoos. Now there's been some times when I've thought about it. But I know that if I started, it would be I would be covered, full sleeve, over a period of time, 5 or 10 years, it'd be all over the place.
If you had to get one, what would be the first thing on the top of your mind? Just, you don't have an idea?
Amy and I were just talking about this the other day. At one point during our relationship, way before we were married, I was convinced I wanted to get a Sundrop tattoo.
No way, really?
Get a Sundrop logo on my arm.
Now that's a
You're
level of sponsor
dream,
commitment.
That's why That's why I do not need to get tattoos because
Sundrop's here. I got Budweiser here.
Terrible ideas.
I got filter time right here.
Yeah, National Guard's back here.
Sundrop is more than a sponsor, man.
Yeah.
This is that's a home team.
I'm gonna get a Bojangles Studio.
We did remember we did the temporary tattoos, and I had Bojangles right here.
It's
when
bow
we did
time.
that thing. Yeah, it's bow time.
Usually, yeah.
Right.
That's the problem. Is I've thought about it and had probably dozens of ideas about what tattoos I would get because you're always having those conversations with friends and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
None have ever been good ideas. All were regrettable, and so I've never went to get the tattoo because there's never this. Oh, that's a great idea, right? There's none. That doesn't exist. Now I see other people, and I don't look at their tattoos and go, "What a dumb idea."
Mm-hmm.
It's a tattoo. It's what they wanted.
Yeah.
But if I get one, I might go, "Oh no, I can't. Why? Why did I do that?"
It's got the idea. I feel like has to sit with you pretty good for a few years before you even consider getting it.
I would probably be embarrassed and ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it was a Sundrop tattoo.
Unless it was Sundrop tattoo. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then, man, you're walking around and people are going, is that a sun drop tattoo?
Yeah.
Is that temporary?
Right.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. I've had it for 10 years.
I love that
My whole opinion of you has now changed in an instant.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah. Ooh.
You're that kind of person.
All right, so first I frosted my tips on this show. Now I'm going to get
You
a
gotta
sun
get a
drop
sun drop
tattoo.
tattoo.
You need
No,
a
I'm not
temporary
gonna do that.
Bojangles tattoo.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll figure that out. We got time for one more question. This one's coming from Colin. I know, like, Blaney's lived on your property at certain times before.
That's not true.
It's not true?
So I had a house connected that was part of my property.
Okay.
I sold it to Brad, and Brad rented to Blaney. So
Okay.
Blaney was a neighbor.
Okay, so the question still stays
I
the
just
same.
want to clear that up.
Okay.
I'm glad you did.
Yes. Who has been the best neighbor you've had over all the years?
Blaney was great.
Blaney was good?
Yeah, Blaney was great because, Blaney was pretty. Blaney, a good neighbor's a neighbor you're hardly ever gonna see, but when you do see them, it's cool. They never complain about what you're doing with your property, and you can enjoy a drink or two from time to time. It was perfect, man. He was kind of coming in to, his own as a cup driver, wins that first race. We got to help him, make sure his celebration was good. We felt like we were helping. We brought the booze.
Mm-hmm.
But, and we hung and partied all night, and he was no trouble, man. Easy. And they, he might, I don't know how much he did, but he would, he'd ride a 4-wheeler over to the house and we'd hang out in the basement and drink beer, which was great because I get home from the race and he gets home from the race and I'm still up and he's still up. I'm like, well, let's hang out and drink a beer or two. And that might happen every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think maybe he rode his 4-wheeler on the property some. We got some trails. So, and I didn't mind as long as nobody got hurt, So that was pretty good. That's pretty good. All my neighbors are great. I mean, I don't have a bad neighbor. There's not. I mean, there might be this one neighbor that's a little bit critical. Just not in a good mood. That you're gonna have those.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't ever have any bad interaction with anybody. And I think I like to think. I was thinking about this just driving down the road just the other day. You drive down the road sometimes and somebody will wave at you that you don't recognize. And you're like, they know me, that I live around here. And I kind of have this idea in my head that I hope that in my area, we all look out for each other, right? Like if I see something going on that is unusual on your property, I'm going to figure out how to get that information to you, right? Or if I see something happening in the neighborhood that I think this person needs to know or that person needs, we all kind of got to, look out for each other, and at least that's how I hope it is. I don't know how about you guys. I mean, if you live in a duplex or an apartments complex, right, everybody's trying to work together, right?
Sure.
Definitely.
Got to coexist. Everybody's trying to make this happen and everybody be happy and get to know each other, and so that's kind of what I hope it is like around my place.
Yeah.
You sound like a good neighbor.
I'm easy. I don't make a lot of noise, I gotta, I don't make a lot of noise. I'm pretty easy.
Nice. I need to circle up to a YouTube comment that made me laugh. This one's from Vegas, and it goes back to the dream conversation. They said, I'm pretty sure no one dreams about playing for the Washington Commanders.
That's hilarious. They'll
So
always be my team.
Yes, you're the first person to
loyal.
dream.
Loyalty is a good quality, man.
Anyways, that's a good place. And Ask Junior
I
this
guess
week.
so. I guess so. All right. Well, thank you to Xfinity Mobile. All they do for us here. They support us to allow us to continue to make these shows so you guys can enjoy them. Thanks for tuning in to our YouTube channel here at Dirty Mo Media and the Dale Jr. Download and the Bojangles Studio. It's been a fun day. Hope you enjoyed Ask Junior. It was another good one. A lot of fun. And tune in. We got Bobby Hillin Jr. as our guest this week. Raced in the 80s. I raced him in the 90s in Xfinity Series. We're going to see what he's up to these days and how he thought about his career. It's a great conversation. I hope you'll enjoy it. We'll see you. All right, so we talked about Dirty Mo Doe and the success of that show. I have to say that Tampa Tim's, we have brought you to the table, man.
Yeah.
You're the reason why the show has gained so much success.
You think so?
Yeah, we ground and ground, got no traction, couldn't move that show at all. But since you've joined, it's blown up, exploded.
Must be the beard, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like people really appreciate your takes.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, we know the March Madness tournament has been going on, so how have you done? I mean, are you striking out?
No, we're doing pretty well.
Doing pretty well.
We're doing pretty well. Yeah,
Really?
hit on a couple Cinderellas early. James Madison, Grand Canyon.
Why did you bet on Grand Canyon?
Listen, when they're that big of an underdog, you kind of just take a shot.
You have to.
And there's always a team dressed in purple that wins, it feels like. So
Oh, my God.
This is the gambling
took
advice?
a shot
This
at
sounds like betting on the horse because you like the name.
it. Kind of is, yeah.
All
So,
right.
Take a shot at it.
Purple teams.
Purple teams, yeah.
All right. So let me ask you this, man. I'm very conservative, especially about things I don't know a lot about. I'm not very versed in the gambling world. And I know there's tons of different types of bets that can be made. You can bet on the team that gets the 5 points first. You can bet on the player that's going to hit the first shot. I mean, it's anything and everything.
It's wild.
You can bet on who wins the Super Bowl next year or whatever, right? So when you're gambling on something as big as March Madness in this bracket in college basketball, are you conservative? Are you aggressive?
I'm conservative, yeah. I don't try to
What is conservative?
for me, it's just kind of focus on the day's game or the time frame, I would say. There's a ton of games going on all at once. I don't try to get in on everything.
Yep.
It's really just, I was at the games Thursday, so I just focused
saw
on,
you.
I know. I was.
Does that make you more encouraged to bet on the game you're at?
Yeah, because it makes it more enjoyable.
More enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, like I watched North Carolina Wagner game, and they were like 27-point favorites. So I just bet on Wagner just to root for the other team. But just something small, something just to kind of keep you invested, so you're not dozing off in the seats a little bit.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this: what conference wins the whole thing?
Ooh, I think it's the ACC.
They only have Carolina State, North Carolina State, and Duke.
Duke.
That's it.
UNC,
Clemson?
NC State, Duke,
Clemson?
and Clemson's still in there. Yeah.
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 Clemson's.
They're a football school. I said it on Dirty Modo this past week, but they're still in it.
All right. Clemson and State, I don't think are going to win the tournament.
I think North Carolina's going to win it.
You think?
Yeah.
They can beat UConn?
I
They
mean,
didn't.
They didn't, but it's tough to go back to back.
I hope Carolina wins it, but I'm just not sure.
UConn's
they can
tough.
beat UConn.
UConn's tough, but it's tough to go back to
It's
back.
like a given, like that UConn's going to make it to the finals.
I know. Well, it hasn't happened. No one's gone back to back in about 20 years,
Wow.
so it's tough.
Yeah.
But we'll
It
see.
is. All right, that's why I think it's a hard bet to put ACC as the conference to win.
I like that there's 4 options though.
Yeah.
If you go in just conference, so
Got you.
yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate you giving us an update. Dirty Modo every Thursday. Tampa Tim's, and the guys, Steve Letarte and group, they all will preview the races. Do y'all talk about the other sports, right?
Yeah.
How much do you cover those sports versus racing?
We cover golf a lot. Steve actually doesn't have any guy Steve talks about doesn't make the cut. So you automatic fade.
But if I'm coming on there to learn about, the best bet to make, right?
Yeah.
What sports are you covering?
Whatever's going on, really. So right now, college basketball. I give out some hockey plays.
Yeah.
Golf, whatever's going on, we talk about it.
I saw your take on Denny for going into COTA. Where did he end up?
I think he was like 14th or something.
Yeah, so you were right.
I was right. Yeah. He wasn't really the stats.
Faded.
I faded him. We did really well with Bowman and Busher, and they did really well. So
all right. Well, all right, man. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Time for the white flag. Dropped already this week, the Teardown with Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi. They cover everything at COTA, and Denny Hamlin does Actions Detrimental, where he also covers his experience from behind the wheel of the racetrack this weekend in Texas. Door bumper clear with Connor Zillich. We get to learn a little bit about Connor and hear what the door bumper clear guys thought about the race weekend. Dropping tomorrow, Speed Street with Connor Daly and Chase Holden. And then Thursday, Dirty Modo with Steve Letarte. This is your go-to show for NASCAR gambling. A lot more people are starting to pick up on this show, and good to see the traction that it's starting to get. DJD Reloaded will be on Thursday. Last week, Matthew Dillner returned to the studio as a guest. A lot of people were probably glad to see Matthew back.
Yeah.
And they debated short track racing, or the state of short track racing. And so the unanimous driver poll was a cool new feature on that show.
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, so it's like I guess we have a poll that we're going to be rocking with every week where, like, last week is what makes a good short track. And we had a bunch of drivers.
Not every week.
Not every week.
We're going to use it when we need to use it.
Okay. Well, who had the best answer?
Well, it's unanimous.
Well, you did, Dale.
Wait.
No, I'm I don't know.
What was a good answer?
It's anonymous.
What was a good answer?
What were the questions?
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
What makes a good short track?
Oh, okay.
It was like ability to pass was one of the big ones.
That was a common one. Was lanes to pass, multiple grooves.
All right. Fair enough.
Raceability.
Raceability.
Is that a word?
Yeah, sure.
I voted for concession stand.
Oh,
That's what makes
all
a good
right.
short track.
Yeah, the
okay.
Martinsville hot dog.
Yeah. All right. I hope you guys enjoy it. Tune in for Bobby Hillin tomorrow. It's going to be a fun weekend at Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
Bubba Pollard driving for Junior Motorsports. Let's get it.
It's going to be pretty awesome.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow.